Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the first edition of DSS Break in 2023. It's really nice to be back. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are here live every other week to talk about data science experiences and best practices with leading data professionals in a 15-minute break. I'm Anisin, CEO and founder of Data Science Salon, and I'm streaming live from our headquarters located here in the heart of Miami, right next to the Design District. And on today's break, I'm sitting down with Jesse Barbour, who's the chief data scientist at Q2E Banking. And he has over 14 years of experience in the financial services industry and with building products at the intersection of customers' most difficult problems and their vast, large data assets. Jesse will tell us more about scaling up human AI collaboration for financial cybersecurity, which I'm sure is on everybody's mind these days. So I'm really excited to know more.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Awesome. It's really nice to have you here. And I know that you've been with Q2 for over 14 years. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you kind of got together with Q2 and how you've been there for such a long time?
Sure. So just briefly, before my time at Q2, I was in grad school working on my PhD in mathematics here at UT Austin. By some miraculous stroke of luck, I don't recall exactly what the set of conditions were that led me to the moment, but I ended up in a conversation with Hank Seal, Q2's founder, where effectively he posed the question to me. He said, "Hey, look, we're building a startup over here. We're doing something different. We don't have a lot of customers. We don't have a lot of end users now. What we expect to at some point in the near future. We also expect to have a bunch of fraud, because that's the way the world works. That's the way things are. And can you come here and use math to stop it?" And being ever the optimist, and having no idea what I was getting myself into at the time, I'm like, yeah, sure, Hank, I can totally go do that. So I dropped out of my grad program and came here to Q2. I'm happy to say that spent these last 14 years working on interesting problems, and working with great teams and putting forth powerful solutions to our customers that solve hard problems for our end users. So just a little bit of background there.
No, that's great. And I mean, you often don't see people in the same role for 14 years or in the same company. That's why I asked. Is there something, are you working on a lot of awesome projects there? Is that why it's so great, or is it really great for employees? What makes Q2 so great to have somebody for this long? Because I think I've only come across this maybe once or twice before with people where they've been somewhere is such a long time.
Yeah, sure. So I think it has to do with coming on very early, taking an integral role and building a very important piece to kind of the foundation of what we're doing here. And then from there forward, it was growing with the company, with the user base, with our customer base. There's obviously no shortage of interesting problems in the financial services space, particularly when you look at those problems through the lens of the kind of data assets that are available to us. And yeah, just interesting problem after interesting problem. That's kind of what there was that set of events that conspired to have me here working away for 14 years. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's great to hear. And I think you could really make a difference in that time, right? So, and build some amazing things. And as we know, financial services is a huge space. And how do you really decide what to work on next, right?
Well, I would say that requires a very very careful balancing act between curiosity and discipline. Why does curiosity matter? Well, it matters because I'm never going to be the expert in my customers' problems. That's their job. Mine is to be curious and listen all the time. Discipline is important because we're in the business of building things.
Right.
I have a colleague that often likes to quip that, hey, look, we can build anything, but what should we build? These are very, very important questions. And that's where discipline comes in. To get at that, well, we require this discipline. We require discipline with respect to, the problems that we choose to spend our precious time, and our resources on. So what do good problems look like? They're widespread. A lot of people tend to have them. The people that have these problems tend to experience them and again, and they're pernicious and they're expensive and complex to solve. So what do? We discipline ourselves to go after those good problems. It's with that combination of discipline and security that I think, rather discipline and curiosity, that you arrive at the place where you need to be, that is, you're spending your time and your resources where the downstream impact is maximized.
Right. No, that makes sense. And what is the biggest threat for companies today when it comes to fraud? I mean, I know there's so many different threats, but I think maybe the biggest one or two or three that you can share.
Sure. So, fraud. If I had to pin down a thing, it would be disruption to the status quo. So as users increasingly demand, and for good reason, financial products that meet them where they are, serve their extant needs, and as companies continue to innovate and to deliver against those needs and to deliver those products, well, there's an entire population of bad actors that are out there. They're opportunists, and
Right.
they pay very close attention to what's going on in the space. And wherever there's innovation, well, you'll find these bad actors because they go to the new attack surfaces. They're very good at what they do. They're highly motivated to be good at what they do. They've got a lot of time. So this is one of those problems that, and it never gets any easier. It only ever gets more more difficult, particularly with the with the proliferation of just innovation in the financial services industry, particularly with respect to money movement. Again, this is about innovators taking solutions to users' problems and bringing them out to where the users are. There are fraudsters there, and we need to be there as well, because there's value to be delivered on that front.
Right. No, thanks for sharing that. And I think the next question I have for you is what's a trend that you see for machine learning and financial security in the next 3 to 5 years? Because I think that's definitely, cybersecurity is something that not many people talk about, but it's something that people think about internally a lot.
Well, so when you think specifically about financial fraud, if we refer back to, say, the Wall Street Journal, they tell us what to look at. 60% of all fraud attempts are check fraud. 47% of financial institution losses across the entire spectrum are due to check fraud. But then that begs the question:
why don't we just get rid of checks?
Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. That's a good question. And even before that, what is a check? A lot of people may have this question, and I always like to kind of characterize what is a check. A check is this special piece of paper that your bank mails to you in a stack.
Yeah.
Then you take those pieces of paper out and write things on them and give them to other people. They give them to their banks. Their bank mails it to your bank, and then at the kind of culmination of this big convoluted kind of sequence of activities, you end up with money having been transferred from one individual to another one. But then, if you're like me, you kind of you got to kind of step back and ask the question: Do people use those things? Which is a very good question, and the answer, and the answer is it's a resounding yes. So the most common form of B2B payment in the United States is checks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, smartphones, mobile banking, they've contributed to that. So if you're like me and you get a refund from Amazon for whatever, a package that wasn't delivered, or maybe they sent you the wrong one, they send you a check in the mail, and you get out your phone, take a picture of it, and it's in your account, and you go on about your way. You don't have to visit the branch or anything like that. So along with all this legitimate innovation and usage and convenience for businesses and individuals, comes fraud. but doesn't look anything like fraud used to look. Check fraud. Check fraud has a long and sordid history going back, decades. So like there's this movie with Tom Hanks and Leo DiCaprio where this guy would dress up as an airline pilot and fly around from
Yep.
city to city, cashing bad checks. It doesn't look like that anymore at all. Today, fast forward, it's massive, sophisticated social engineering schemes that target young people, first-time account holders on platforms like Roblox, Instagram, TikTok, preying
Yeah, no,
on
they come after you and all those. Like, it's definitely not traditional fraud. Even text message,
that's
they'll text message you. That definitely had a lot of that, which is pretty creepy that they know so much information about you.
That's right. That's right. So it's this really pernicious blend of kind of very clever social engineering style attacks with technical acumen, technical sophistication. They will digitally kind of manipulate check images as they come over the wire in an attempt to devise, an attempt to arrange the pixels in just such a manner that the image of this check appears valid to all the existing systems that those checks have to pass through. So, recently check fraud it's ballooned into this massive problem that inordinately impacts some of the most vulnerable among us. And you asked about momentum. That momentum will continue through the course of the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, I guess you're working on ways to stop that, right? All of this stuff, right?
Very, very much so. Very much so. So the team and we're heads down on that problem right now today. Very much engaged, very keen on the solutions that we were building, and again, super excited to get those solutions out there in the field so they can see the light of day, start stopping fraud.
Right. And I know that you're going to be co-presenting with Kelly Tsao from your team at the Data Science Salon in Austin next month. Can you tell us a little bit more about that presentation without giving too much away?
I will. So, as I mentioned, check fraud. Today it's a very large, very complex problem, and the solution to it requires more than just mathematics, more than just machine learning, more than computer vision. The solution itself, because of the nature of the problem, the solution demands a vast and disparate network of domain experts, all collaborating in a material way with the central artificial intelligence. That AI represents the collective knowledge of all of these disparate experts that previously would never have worked together, right? So it turns out that designing this network in such a manner that those experts are empowered and able to to seamlessly and intuitively, very naturally interact with this broad and expansive array of computer vision based ML systems, that design exercise is entirely non-trivial. So it presents a host of issues that generally arise from the field of human computer, human AI interaction. So Kelly and I are very much looking forward to diving into some of the finer points of that problem as we detail our experiences in building the solution.
Cool. Well, I'm really excited about your presentation as well. And you're in Austin, right?
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. So I look forward to seeing you there next month. I can't believe that we are going to be already in February soon. And thank you so much for joining us today, Jesse, and for sharing your experience. It was a pleasure to have you. And as I mentioned, we'll be with Jesse and his co-presenter for their session at the Data Science Salon on February 21st and 22nd. And we're really excited to come back in person and to bring back the data science community there. We were there last in 2020 and pretty much the same week and right before the month after when COVID came. So it'll be really nice to see everybody. And we're going to be streaming everything virtually as well for those of you who cannot make it. So please check out the details in the link that we're going to share in the comments section, and you can apply to attend. And I hope, Jesse, that your team is going to be there as well.
We will be there with bells on. Very much looking forward to it. And thanks again for the invite today.
Of course. Thank you. And have a wonderful rest of the week, everybody. Bye.